I am now joined by one of my favorite fighters, and I gotta say, one of my favorite people, Calvin Kattar, kicking off 2021 against Max Holloway. Calvin, how does it feel after 2020, we would all like to forget, to be the first fight in the UFC, the first main event of 2021? How exciting is that, man?
Yeah, I'm pumped. It's a great checkpoint for me and my team. Couldn't be more excited. We got a tough opponent ahead of us, Max Holloway, and couldn't be more ready for the opportunity and just to go out and do what I do.
I gotta know, before you got the invite, before you got the hey, you're gonna be fighting Max Holloway in January, what were your thoughts on him as a fighter? Because I know as a fan, I love watching the guy fight. He brings excitement every single time. He loves to stand and scrap. Former champions, meant a lot to the division. Were you a Max Holloway fan before you had to get ready to fight him?
Hell yeah, who wouldn't be? He's a true champion inside and outside of the octagon. Watching some film on him, I got to see him versus Dustin Poirier, and one of the key takeaways I had from the fight was just how he handled the loss. He went up and shook all of Dustin Poirier's family's hands, congratulated them, and that's what a champion does, man. He's been a great example of how you should act as a champion, and it's a great opportunity to go and compete against him, especially since he's considered one of the best featherweights to ever do it.
Tactically, when you look at him, whenever you see a Max Holloway fight, it's volume, it's stepping forward. It's not particularly complicated footwork necessarily, but he wears fighters down. You saw Jose Aldo a couple times keep up with them in the beginning, and then he just couldn't match the volume of Max Holloway. The guys that lose to him, that's kind of the issue. What's training camp been like? Is your coach sitting there with a punch counter? Has it been tough keeping that volume up for this fight, man? Let me know.
Just doing what we do best, man. Put in the work every day. It doesn't change with who we fight. We just got to try to worry about being the best Calvin Kid every time we step in there. And if we can do that enough, then that'll get the job done.
Max Holloway, his last time out, lost to Alexander Volkanovski twice. It was a one-sided the first time, much closer in the second fight. Do you look at that fight at all as some kind of roadmap to victory from Max Holloway? Do you take anything from those two losses?
Volkanovski and myself are different fighters. Styles make fights, and I match up differently than Max than anybody's ever fought. So, you know, just got to go out and be me, man. And I present as much difficulties as anybody's ever stepped in there with, and he's gonna find out come January 17th.
Max Holloway has a way of turning every fight into a brawl, right? That's why we love watching him. That's why he's so exciting. He throws up his hands Hawaiian style and says, come get it. And fighters oblige most of the time. Like, all right, they step in there and they make it his kind of a fight. How do you make it a Calvin Kattar kind of fight? Is it stepping into the fire just like that? Or is it making it a little bit different, a little bit more footwork, a little bit more elusive? How do you make it a Calvin Kattar kind of fight?
It's always a complicated fight. Anytime I step in there, you see the way I fight. He's gonna have to deal with that. I'm less worried about how I respond all the way than more than how he responds to me.
What are your thoughts on the division? This is one, I would say 55 is number one right now. I think 35 is right behind it. 45 really heating up right now. You have Zabit Magomedsharipov, you have the Korean Zombie, you have Yair Rodriguez, Brian Ortega. It's a really hot division right now, 2021. What are your thoughts on the division and where a win over Max Holloway puts you?
It's nice to see some movement. For a while, it was hung up. These guys were inactive for a while, and Ortega versus Zombie kicked things off. Hopefully, in 2021, we'll see some of these other matchups get moving. But we envisioned a fight with Max while everything was at a standstill. And I mean, I said it before. A shot at the title, if you want it, I believe you got to go through Max. Some people still consider him the champ after that last fight with the current champ, Volkanovski. And a win over him, I believe, puts you next in line. So I couldn't be more excited with the opportunity to go in there with him next.
Speaking of that fight, when Dominic Reyes was going to fight Jan Blachowicz for the title, right? I asked Rashad Evans, a former champion, I was interviewing him, and I said, what are the keys to this fight? And he said, Dominic Reyes can't be mentally in the John Jones fight, right? He can't think, I'm the uncrowned champion. I'm going to walk in there and blow Jan Blachowicz away. He can't think that way. He has to move past that. And he had a flat performance against Jan Blachowicz. A similar thing with Max Holloway. He's constantly asked about the Volkanovski trilogy. He's always talking about Volkanovski. Mentally leaving yourself in the last fight can be really detrimental. Do you think that might be a possibility going into this fight? What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, he seems to be talking a lot about the champ, and I think to overlook me going into the fight would be a big mistake.
Do you feel you've spent a lot of your career overlooked, man? I've been watching you for a lot of years, man, and it seemed like everybody seemed surprised every time you'd have these great brawls, these great knockouts, these highlight reel finishes. I'm like, have you not been watching Calvin Kattar fight? You've always seemed under the radar. Has it helped you being overlooked? Has it left kind of a chip on your shoulder, man? Tell me.
Yeah, I'm always looking for chips on my shoulder, and I'm constantly being overlooked, constantly being counted out, and I enjoy that role. I don't talk as much as some of these other guys, and for me that works. I don't feel like I need to give them any of that locker room material, like Bill Belichick says. We go in there, and credit to my opponent, he's a tough fighter, but a win over him puts me next in line.
My last question before I let you go, this fight against Max Holloway, kicking off the year, possible title shot to the winner. What excitement level should the fans have for this fight, man? How do you see it going down?
Just see me get my hand raised at the end of the day. That's always what I focus on. It's always what I visualize. They was talking about fans being allowed back in the venue, which is great. Hopefully, for everyone stuck in quarantine, give them something to be excited about, getting out of the house, and it'd be nice to get fans back in the crowd and give the venue a much needed energy boost that it's been lacking over the last year.
Calvin, energy is what you always bring to fights. I can't wait to see you and Max Holloway get along, get it on. Best of luck, brother.
Appreciate you guys. Tune in.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.